Hey guys, how's it going today? We're going to be playing some more Stardew Valley, and I sound really happy only because I finally figured this out. I'm going to tell a little bit of a story, so I apologize if you guys wanted to get directly into how to do this sort of thing. I'm on PlayStation 4, okay? The pattern took me way, way longer than it should have to figure out. I was plotting points. I got way too into it. I would stare at the numbers. I would think about, okay, this goes here, this goes there, and I'm going to explain a little bit on how I got so screwed up while doing this, and it's to do with the fact that it was like going up and to the right and moving from left to right when you're actually doing it, because that's the way that the PC version works, is you're moving from left to right as you're digging, and that's the way that the Xbox one works, is you're moving left to right as you're digging. It doesn't work the greatest when you're on PlayStation, though, because you actually start off over here. Yes, you dig up to the right, but then it resets over here to the left. So let me go ahead and explain this a little bit. On PlayStation 4, the pattern takes a little bit longer to find sometimes because it only repeats on the same block every 68 times you hoe, which is comparatively disgusting on Xbox. I haven't done the PC. I don't actually know how long it takes to reset in one particular spot on PC, but I know that on Xbox it resets every 33, and on this it resets every 68. That means that it can be a little bit harder to actually find and get it. The bright side is that on PlayStation 4 you are guaranteed to get a piece of clay every single time. So if it doesn't exist, you have hit the top of one of the patterns. And the problem that I have with this is that the pattern exists in a state of one whole piece is intersected by two separate pieces of the pattern going at two separate times. So halfway through the pattern, it is instead a different pattern. And I had spent so long trying to figure out where it would reset and where I could go, and I ended up plotting points enough to the right of the starting point. So I found out that going over 3 and down 2 was the same one in case it hit the top of the pattern. The problem is that I plotted one single point, and I found out that the pattern doesn't have a 10 block repeatability. It's a 9 block repeatability, and it moves to the left. So this broke me. I was so annoyed with it not matching up this morning. I literally recorded a 36-minute video of me complaining and trying to show what I had found, and then I was so fed up and I didn't want to have to upload that video, so I just sat there and stared at my graph and thought, what if I just remap this separately on a different graph and I start plugging away at a couple of the different data points to see what I can do. And I found 10 in a different spot, and it absolutely changes the way that this entire thing goes because it makes it so repeatable and so easy to do, and I hate it. And I've made my first thing up over there by what's his face, the dude who lives here on the beach. I hit his house with one of the blocks, and I went, well, that doesn't exist. I can't actually hoe the next one. And then I just hoed up next to his boat, and then I found another piece. And I was like, well, yeah, there, I guess another data point. Didn't matter. I know it now. I'm going to try to explain it to you guys as succinctly as possible. On PlayStation, you're going to start off the same way that you do on the other ones. I'm like 4 or 5 blocks away and one down from that piece. We're not going to end up going too low here. But, like I said, the best thing about this is that every single block is guaranteed to give clay once you find the pattern. And once you determine where number 1 is, you can just continuously go. So I'm going to see if I can get it my first try here after having gone through that entire rant. I can show it again if I end up messing up for some reason. Luckily, when I was playing this, I actually got the garlic parmesan or whatever that is over there. I got that my very first day out of the saloon checking the garbage, and then the very next day I got the breadstick, and then I just sold everything else so that way I would get 4 salads. So I've reset this day innumerable times, but we're just going to go until we find a piece of clay, because the best thing to do is to try to explain to you guys after I found a piece. So the way that this works is that since the initial pattern, which can go up to 7 tall, I recommend only doing 6, just because then you're less likely to hit the top of the pattern, and you can reset it a lot easier without moving around so much. So I found the first one. You're going to go up 1 and over 2 to the right. Number 2, up 1 and over 2 to the right. Number 3, up 1 over 2 to the right. Number 4, up 1 over 2 to the right. 5. We have reached, because of the fact that that did not give me that, this is my new number 11. This is the block that I just hit as 11, which means that I need to find 12. I can pull up my graphs on my computer here very shortly after I show everybody how to do this. So this is going to be the lower half of what we're doing. This is not yet the pattern. This is how I'm finding the pattern. If you mine up like this after finding a piece of clay, and you at some point do not manage to hit clay before you hit 6, you are in the lower portion of the pattern, and you have to reset to find the full pattern itself, because that's the easiest way of going, is 1 through 6, 7, 8, 9 separate in a different area, and then repeating again. So, with this being 11, at least as far as my data points on my graph, which I'll be showing again, this is no longer good. That same block did exist 3 blocks over to the right and 2 blocks down, but that is the old way that I had figured this out, and it sucks. So, you go until you find a piece of clay. You go up 1 and over 2 to the right until you don't find clay or you have 6. I will show how you get to, or what you do after you have the 6, but first I'm going to get us back on pattern. Rather than wasting the energy to reset this block and hit 23 times again to get the next piece of clay, because it resets 17 on my graph is the equivalent to 40, being partway through the pattern, if you want this to be your starting block, you have to reset it another 23 hits. We're not going to do that. We're going to conserve as much energy as possible, because realistically, you're doing this early game, probably before the mines even open. The first 5 days, you want to maximize profit as much as possible. Obviously, the time frame is going to be different because I'm letting time pass. It's not going to take me all day to actually show you guys this. But so far, we are at less than half of our energy. But on the bright side is that every single hit that we take from now on should yield a piece of clay, assuming I don't mess something up, so I'm just going to make sure that I'm doing it here properly. With the accordance of my graph that I'll show, this is block number 10. This is block number 9. Number 10 we're never going to hit again, but we found it. 3 blocks back from number 9 is going to be number 12. Then you go up 1 over 2 for 13. 14, 15, and 16 doesn't exist, so I'm just going to go up here. I happen to know that that's where 16 exists when you hit that spot, because that's the exact same spot I was talking about earlier, and what are the chances I hit it like literally the exact same way this way. So you've got 16 there. That means that realistically this was number 12 in what I show on my graph, but this is actually number 2 in the pattern because it repeats every 9 going backwards 2. So this was block number 1, which means that 7, 8, 9 exist there. I'm going to remove the ones we hit earlier, the first 4, because this is going to show the pattern again. So these are the first 4 that I hit. This was 7, 8, 9. If this was our starting block, so imagine this was hoed, you come 2 blocks back. This is where the pattern restarts again. Now the pattern is just going to keep going the exact same way, moving to the left. And it's fantastic, and it's lovely, and I hate that it took me so long to figure that out. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Now I'm going to remove everything else. You don't have to do this. I'm just showing that this is what the actual pattern will end up looking like. I just used it to find the real one where it belongs. So, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to come 2 back from our starting block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to come down here again. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go 2 back from our starting block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to come down here to our starting block and go 1, 2, 3. Come 2 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm exhausted, so I'm going to go ahead and eat this, or eggplant parmesan, sorry. And then we're going to eat that. Now I've done my 6 again. I'm going to come over here and go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come 2 back from over here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to come down over here, go 1, 2, 3. Come 2 back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come down here, 1, 2, 3. Come 2 back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 2 more back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to come over here. 1, 2, 3. 2 back is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 2 back. Doesn't exist. We're going to get rid of that one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Oh, I messed up. Yeah, because the other one was supposed to be over there. I messed this up. But there you go. There's the pattern. I showed you guys how to get back to it. I can go ahead and come down here and just give you one more explanation real quick in case I can get it to mess up again. Just so that way you know how to reset it. We're going to come down over here, actually, just so I have more space. So essentially the way that it happens is that if you start mining, if you don't get up to 6 on your first count, and then come down right to the right of your first, second, and third blocks to be able to put those 3 there, you haven't lined it up quite right. And you can either reset the day and try to do that again, or conveniently enough, you actually get way more clay out of this once you found it. It just can take a lot of your energy to get to the point of being able to find the pattern, which is why I have it figured out how to reset it and stuff like that. I haven't gone through and specifically checked all of these. I'm going to go ahead and pull open my data points. I've walked away from where I was at, so I guess that doesn't even matter. I'll just keep looking for it. But typically you would buy 2 salads with your starting money and then have basically 2 full bars of energy to be able to do this. If you do leave the beach and then try to come back, the pattern will not be where it was before. Every time you walk in here, it changes on you. So I don't recommend attempting to start this, run out of energy, and then go back to buy salads, because you will have to find the pattern again, and that's just a massive waste of energy. So if you're going to do it on day 1, go exploring, go find some other stuff. All right, so we're going to try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That wasn't it. So what we can do here is this is either the bottom half of the pattern, or I can say that this was my top half of the pattern. Get rid of that. So I can say that I've hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. I've already done 7. So realistically, this would have been my 1 block here. So 7 would have been right to the right of this. I can come here and go 8. I messed this up. Ignore that. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. Naturally, if you haven't gotten all 6 of them, you would go ahead and just reset yourself to the left, which is why I started somewhere down here and then reset it up this way. At the same time, if you were to try to hit like the 7th block up on top of these, 3 over and down 2 is the exact same one where it would have existed, and that was what I had gone with before. But if you're coming to the beach and you set it up like this, you can set it up somewhere a little bit more over like this way for a lot more space. You would just have to give up this 1 block right here. So as far left and right as possible, and it's only 6 tall. It can be 7 tall, but then you're not resetting here, and you'll just have like, it'll look like this. If you do 7, then you're going to the right of your second block you've hit instead of the first one. This so far is the most efficient way that I've seen of being able to do this with the data points that I've had. I'll go ahead and pull open the graphs for you guys. Let me just go ahead and move my mic over to my computer because I am not currently at my house, and I've got a weird setup just to be able to hook up to my dad's PlayStation 4. So let me go ahead and open up my graph that I have on my computer. it closed by accident. Go to my sheets. I have it on a Google sheet. Stardew Clay Farm Grid. Let me switch over to my... Oh, I have my monitor on. All right, cool. So here we go. This is my data points. Right here is for Xbox, actually. So I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Where did I map the 13? I think I messed up mapping the 13. Oh, no, yeah. 13's up here, 14, 15, 16, and then it resets down here with 17, 18, 19, and you go behind it for 20, 21, 20. Yeah. So this is my Xbox One. I actually still really enjoy this one. Fun fact, I actually, until this morning when I was trying to record this, or record the other video for the half-hour one, that I was just pissed off the entire time. Sorry for the language. I actually didn't have some of these points in because I had figured it out and I had studied the numbers enough. This was the data that I was working with. I color-coded it to be a little bit more friendly. For the longest time, I didn't realize that it could reset and have different heights. And then once I found out that there's a height limit for it, so these could never go higher than this, and it went up above itself sometimes, but I could never get a proper length for it to actually stay doing that. Getting the 1 through 7 was pretty easy, but I found it was safer to just go the 1 through 6 and then take the 3 next to it. So this one that says 30 is actually number 7 as well. The ones that are red are the ones that I had counted out and then found out that there was a different number that existed there. So rather than this having been 40, 10 up from this one, in accordance with all of this stuff going on here, that's why I have the 17 equals 40 down here. I started thinking I was going to map out, realized I didn't have enough distance, and then I just started replanting the numbers in here. With this being 11, I wondered, what if this one's 10? And that's history, because now the pattern just makes way more sense. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Rather than doing the 10 here, you just get rid of that. This one is number 10. And then if you're at the height limit for it, and this one doesn't actually exist here, it did happen to exist here regardless. So you can reset your pattern lower the very next time you come around, but it's not really all that important. So if you say you missed the 15 here, it did exist here. When you move 2 over to the left for the next one, so this would be your 24, rather than trying to hit the 24 here, you could come down and try to hit the 24 here. So you could just reset your pattern a little bit lower and start moving over to the left still. The problem is you would run into ones that you've already done. So it is possible to get more points if you're blocked by something. And this is just... if this doesn't make sense to you, just know that whenever you miss a block, say you get the 1 through 6, or you don't get the 1 through 6, if you go 1, 2, 3 and miss, or if it's 1, 2 and miss, the one that you hit second before... the second to last one you actually got clay out of, 3 left of that is where you're starting off with the equivalent of 12. So if I'm mining, say I got a piece of clay. Okay, I got a piece of clay. Cool. And I don't get to that. Whatever block I first didn't get clay out of is this one right here. So say this is the one that I didn't get clay out of. That means that the one I just got clay out of is the 10. The one before that was the 9. So 3 blocks left of that is the next block you're going to hit, and you've reset yourself back on the pattern. This one, with my new data, would be the other one. Where's my painter tool? Paint format, that one. So that is then how you would end up coming back to it. So if you don't get a full 6, don't panic. Go to the second to last one you got clay out of, because if you didn't get clay out of it, you're on 34. It doesn't exist. That's the upper one. I hope I'm explaining this fairly decently, because I really want people to be able to get it and say that it works fine for them, because this has taken way too long for me to figure all of this out. You go to the second to last one you got clay out of. 3 to the left of that is the one you're next going to hit. You're going to come all the way up through to the 16. Or, this is your 2 block, and you're going to go up through 6. Then when you come back down, you're going to hit the one just down and to the left, which will technically be the new 1 that you would hit. You're going to hit your 17, 18, 19, and then you're going to come 2 back from what would have been your first one. Oh, realistically, this wouldn't be your first one. This would have been your new one because you were going with a 10. So this one right here would have ended up being your 20, and this would be your new 21. So that's how this one ends up working out. So this one is going to be the one block that you missed. We're just going to paint it red. So say you start off, you start hitting blocks. It doesn't matter how many of these you hit. This could be the equivalent of a different 6 that you hit. This could be a different 5 that you hit. If you don't get all the way up to 6, reset from this block right here. This is the first one you missed. Come to here, go 3 over, hit this one here, start back up again. So this is actually the 11, 12, 13. Ignore the fact that I have different numbers on separate ones because I mapped this one out entirely separately. It doesn't count up to 7. It only counts up to 6 because it's a lot easier to get the pattern to repeat rather than needing to reset a little bit sooner. So I hope this has been helpful for any of you guys that have PlayStation 4s. If you are willing to try this out, please let me know if it works for you guys. I don't have the option of recording for PlayStation 5 if this doesn't work. I've had conflicting opinions on whether or not the Nintendo Switch one is the same as the Xbox. I've had some people say it was, some people said it wasn't. I can guarantee the Xbox one works because I've used it so much. If anybody has had trouble with that one, feel free to let me know and try to give as detailed an explanation as possible as to why it wouldn't have been working, because this is my data points that I plotted out for it, and I've done weeks and weeks of in-game always with this being able to work, and it basically, once you hit the block, you can do the 1, 2, 3 and keep going with it. So for anybody, I hope this was as helpful as I could make it, because it is as helpful as I could make it. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great time. Enjoy whatever it is. I mean, this is after the holidays and everything, so what's next? Valentine's? Have a good Valentine's.